Leaving aside controversies about armpit hair, women-only screenings and being banned in the Lebanon, Wonder Woman still had a mountain to climb. It had to single-handedly save the DCEU, at least until the asteroid labelled Justice League hits anyway. It also had to prove that a female-led superhero film doesn't have to be synonymous with the words cult classic as well as critical and commercial bomb, and initially the signs looked good. After some early screenings labelled it a salvageable mess, it was clearly sent back to the editing suite to be salvaged. And to everyone else, this seems to have worked. It took more in a day than King Arthur, Legend of the Board, made in its entire run. It's in IMDb's top 250 with over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's being talked about in the same breath as the eternally overrated Dark Knight. Everyone else seems to love it. I thought it was okay. It passed the time. I wouldn't seek it out, but I wouldn't cry if I was made to watch it again, because I've seen this film before, pretty much note for note and beat for beat, except it was in the MCU, and it was called Captain America the First Avenger. Its tone was certainly more consistent with the MCU, up to a point at least. It was still a fairly gloomy affair to watch and had a touch too much slow motion for my taste, but someone has clearly discovered what we humans refer to as a joke, and the film does certainly have a lighter tone than previous entries in the DCEU. And I liked the idea of setting the film during World War I as opposed to World War II, as it allowed for the exploration of moral greyness. After all, there were no good guys during World War I, just a pointless mess that resulted in an entire generation being slaughtered. Except the film decided to treat World War I as World War II with slightly different hats. At any point you could swap the word Kaiser for Führer and off you go. The Germans are certainly slaughtered with the aplomb that I would reserve for films like Where Eagles Dare, instead of what I imagine was supposed to be something along the lines of All Quiet on the Western Front, but with Gal Gadot running around in a miniskirt. And for that matter, all of these ruthless Germans seem to pose as much threat to Diana Prince, she's never once referred to as Wonder Woman, as a nice glass of red poses to me after a hard day working. They certainly seem to me like they're in Where Eagles Dare. Of the 3 action sequences, which would be half as long if there was no slow motion, none of them lasted more than about 5 minutes. All are full of CGI, and 2 of them seem to have been lifted directly from The Great Escape and that scene in Saving Private Ryan where Vin Diesel gets shot. Mind you, they do something cool with the villain by hinting for most of the film that there isn't one. Diana's plan throughout the movie is to kill the villain, at which point the human race will down all its weapons and peace and harmony will immediately take hold throughout the land, but for most of the film there's neither hide nor hair of him, and we begin to question whether he exists and is corrupting humanity to do these awful things, or if this is humanity just doing what it does. At least that happens until the last 10 minutes, where the villain randomly appears, monologues, and what had been a good fun film de-evolved into a cutscene from Injustice Gods Among Us. And call me old-fashioned, but I like to know our heroes' abilities before they pull them out of nowhere at the final battle, either through hints or being told, but that's just me being old-fashioned, and it is purely amazingly wonderful to see a villain's plan that doesn't hang on a sky portal. Wonder Woman is shaping up to be the blockbuster film of the summer with lots to recommend in it. It's beautifully shot, the plot moves forward at a fair pace, and barring random unexplained powers towards the end, it holds together pretty well. Gadot is perfectly cast in the film role, and even Chris Pine almost but not quite fails to live up to his name for once. It's just a shame about the last 15 minutes and some rather underwhelming fight sequences because there is a lot I enjoyed here. As it is, guys, I still think you should see it, but it just could have been a lot better if it had been a little bit longer and if someone had actually remembered to put in a decent finale. But what did you guys think? And what is your favourite female-led film? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, this has been A Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.